Radio.
You got Billson here, and it's Tri-City Sports Now. Talking about media days here, and one more quote that I'm going to give you from Jeremy Pruitt. Of course, as I've said, the program, I think both short and long term, just goes around Jared Guarantano. If they have a third straight losing season, I mean, I really, you can talk all you want to about blue blood program, but you're really talking about the old days. And you might as well be talking, if you're going to be doing that, about Yale. Hey, there were 17 in that Hero Sports FCS poll. About Chicago. I mean, you might as well, because again, about Minnesota, about Ole Miss, about the University of Pittsburgh. They got 9 national championships, okay? You think that Tennessee stayed with the single wing offense too long into the 60s because the general ran it and we got to too. The offense is named after Jock Sutherland. He was the coach at Pitt. He also was pretty good friends with Bob Nealon, okay? But I mean, you know, what does it mean here, you know? I mean, you want to talk about Miami being yesterday's program, which, well, they were 10-0 just 2 years ago, but before Pitt beat them, actually. But, yeah, they were doing very well. But now that, you know, Manny Ramirez is there, not necessarily Mark Richt, and, you know, ETSU has their old quarterback now. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know if it's ever in the cards for Miami. I mean, certainly the dynasty had been in the 80s, for that matter, at the start of the 20th century. I don't know if you're going to see that again from, I mean, Alabama's done real well, but, you know, if you're saying dynasty mode to Miami, like it was in the 80s, no. That's not going to happen again. And I really don't know if that's going to happen again for Tennessee, at least until players are paid. Because the one advantage Tennessee has over their brethren is money. The one disadvantage they have is, generally speaking, there aren't that many good players in Tennessee as compared to a place like South Carolina and Georgia and Alabama. In Memphis, the athletes play basketball. Around here, I'm wondering if they play baseball. We've got so many minor leaguers, and, you know, Justin Grimm, and, you know, Daniel Norris, and it just seems like we got a lot of baseball players around here coming out these days. But anyway, Jared Guarantano got him, not from Tennessee, but New Jersey. You got to go back to a long way. I think, you know, I once mentioned a long way to find native Tennesseans who have played quarterback for Tennessee, as a matter of fact. But anyway, Jared Guarantano, again, New Jersey native, and Jeremy Pruitt, well, you know what? He kind of thinks that he's the bee's knees.
Well, the thing that excites me about Jared is
There he goes. He's speechless. He is so excited about Jared Guarantano. I mean, he just can't get the words out. A lot of people will tell you that for Jeremy Pruitt, that might be about as articulate as he gets. Let's try to play this again, what he thinks of the Volunteers quarterback.
The thing that excites me about Jared is you can stand out on the field and you can see his arm talent. You know that he's a good athlete. You know, me being in the meeting rooms, I know that football really comes easy to him. He picks it up really fast. He can handle a whole lot. The thing that I see that excites me the most is the impact he's having on his teammates. I think that's a true mark of a leader, is having a positive impact on the people you're around. And I see him developing and doing that, and that's what excites me about him and the future of our program.
I will say this. I did not expect to hear that from any coach about Guarantano after he pouted, remember that, on the sidelines against Georgia Tech to open up the 2017 season. So, positive sign, we'll see. I still, you know, I do think the jury is still out. Obviously, the jury is still out on this guy. He's had a grand total of 4 200-yard passing games. So he's got, you know, he's one of only 2 Tennessee quarterbacks in history. The other is Tyler Bray, who I know you are not putting alongside of Peyton Manning, who have produced back-to-back losing seasons for Tennessee. So, you know, anyway, Matt Luke was also talking yesterday, and he's happy because there's no more probation for the Rebels. Oh, it'll come again in the future. It's Ole Miss. I mean, they've got to be on probation. I think this is the first year Ole Miss has ever not been on a bowl banner, so I can check that out.
We have an opportunity for the first time in 2 years to go back to the postseason. I think our fans are excited about it. I know our players are excited about it. I'm excited about it. To have that opportunity to walk into a living room and not have a cloud hanging over your head, I think you're seeing an immediate impact on the recruiting trail because of that.
Well, there you go. Okay, sorry about the immediate impact on the recruiting trail. And Ole Miss, I mean, then that all of a sudden the compliance people in the NCAA, they just start, wait a minute, what's he saying? There's once a very good point that saying when you're starting to get 5-star guys from Chicago to go to Ole Miss, NCAA is going to look at that. I mean, But you might be getting some pretty good players on defense at Ole Miss, according to Matt Luke, their old line coach turned head coach.
On defense, I think when you hire 2 former national coaches of the year, I think that obviously brings a wealth of knowledge to your staff, but I think it also makes a statement. I think it makes a statement to our commitment to winning and about what we're trying to do at Ole Miss.
Cliché City. How about this for Cliché City?
I think when you start looking at the end of October and November of last season, in the fourth quarter, I think that's when that depth really starts showing up. And I'm excited about some of this, even though they're going to be new faces and some of them are going to be freshmen. There's going to be several competition battles going on in fall camp, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that depth show up, especially toward the end of the season.
Consider how Tennessee has fallen off the last 2 years in November. Remember when Tennessee owned November? But now they've fallen off, and a lot of people do say, well, have they had the depth? Have they been as conditioned as they could? Certainly under Butch Jones, strength and conditioning was criticized mightily. Anyway, by the way, we've got Nick Saban has already come to the podium, so there are a couple of comments from him today that we'll get to. But finishing out yesterday, Kirby Smart was talking, and he said that in the SEC, this is not news, you better win.
I think anytime you take over a program that's top 5 jobs in college football, they're going to answer the bell for your needs and the things you need to be able to compete at the highest level. And when you're in the SEC, you better be able to compete at the highest level. That's across the line of scrimmage. That's in the administration buildings. That's in what you can do for student athletes. And we've been able to do that since my arrival, and it's been a tremendous relationship between the athletic director and the president both.
Well, what he's doing right there is he's trying to make his team out to not be the perpetual bridesmaid in the SEC to Alabama. What he is trying to do is say, hey, we are a worthy foe, so to speak, without providing bulletin board material. And Kirby Smart does it again Cliché City, but does it again in this sound bite.
UGA is a special place, both athletically and academically. One of the themes our players have adopted this year has been to do more. It's a great theme because it's simple. We like it because we understand how close we've been to taking the next step. And although 24-5 the last 2 seasons is good, it's not good enough. It's not where we expect to be at the University of Georgia. Our mission is to bridge that gap. By the actions we take, hence the word do more. Those words require action.
Talk about the hierarchy of the SEC, and I'm not 100% sure that Georgia isn't now what Florida used to be, which is the team to beat year in, year out in the SEC East. Players that are coming out of the Peach State, and frankly the success that Georgia has had recently, you tell me. One program that I always think should win more, not that they don't necessarily win, but they've been kind of mediocre lately, is Texas A&M. A&M, 2 things that I look at them, they will spend money, and they also, and I do believe this works in football, and I'll talk a little bit about this here and why it is important. Yes, the mixing of sports and politics, but Texas A&M is one of the more conservative schools in the country, and therefore to win in a militaristic, dare I say, conservative sport like football, well, maybe that goes hand in hand, and that's a culture that, let's say, is more conducive to winning than what you would find at Berkeley, or certainly at San Francisco and NYU, which years ago had football programs, but no more. Also at A&M, farmers fight, and farmers lift weights, and I guess throw roundhouses, and well, here we go.
I believe you have to be physical in this league to be successful, and you have to run that football, so we'll continue to do it, and I feel very comfortable where we're at right now.
I always hesitate whenever I see somebody, hear somebody, it's, how are you going to win? Well, we got to run the ball. I'm like, it's 2019 now, I mean, anyway. But you know what? He's really excited, Jimbo Fisher is down there in College Station, about Nick Starkel, quarterback transfer from Arkansas. Wait a minute. Why are you transferring from Arkansas? I mean, that's kind of a big pickup for the Aggies.
Well, first of all, Nick is an outstanding person. He's an outstanding player. He has great arm talent. He can throw it. He thinks. He's had great success in this league, and Nick's one heck of a player, and he's going to be an extremely tough guy to go against. There's no doubt about that, and I have nothing but respect for him. He's a class young man.
All right, Nick Saban did take the podium today, and here's how we talked about the disappointing end of last year. Alabama was number 2. That's a disappointment to the Crimson Tide.
I think that if you're a great competitor and you are in a game like we were for the national championship and you didn't perform very well, and given all the credit to the other team who beat us and took advantage of the opportunities that they have, not to take anything away from them, but if you're a competitor, you're going to respond in a positive way and learn from the things that you didn't do.
All right, that's boring. That's a cliche. But you want to know what my favorite football speech is? Not one for the Gipper or anything like that. It's Bo Schembechler talking about the team. Think how important, precious that is. The team, the team, the team. This may be the only time you play for a team. Oh, in the future you'll play for a contract. You'll play for this. You'll play for that. We're going to win that Big Ten conference. You know that speech from Bo Schembechler and all that? Here's Nick Saban's take on it.
Put the team first. It doesn't mean you can't have individual goals and aspirations in terms of what you want to accomplish, what you want to do for the team, but it has to be about the team.
He's not as aggressive as Schembechler was, has he? Yeah, anyway. All right, Tri-City Sports Now. When we come back, I will talk about Tom Herman saying players should be paid in college football after this.